Everybody, Earl at thelogbook.com. Back for more Voyages of Shelf Discovery. This one, we've got more Doctor Who goodies to open up. This one's quite a bit more recent. It is the 15th Doctor's sonic screwdriver, which makes this the current model, or at least the most recent model. This is the one used by Ncuti Gatwa throughout his time as the Doctor, and there's a lot going on with this little gadget. As you can see, it's a very different shape. A lot of the previous iterations of the sonic screwdriver have kind of followed the original form factor, which was, it was introduced in, I believe, 1968 or 69. It was a pen light. That version of it was literally a pen light. A lot of what has followed has added more bells and whistles and moving parts, but still essentially a pen light. This is more like we're finally fessing up that the Doctor's sonic screwdriver is basically a sonic tricorder. It serves much the same function. You know, you wave it over something, you look at it, it tells you everything about whatever it is you just scanned. And that's... I think we all knew that was going on to begin with. But this form factor really seems to confirm that. Opening it turned out to be a lot simpler than most character options product, because there's a plastic blister that's folded into the cardboard package. But I found out that if you make one cut at the top and then cut the tab at the side, just on the piece of plastic, you can very easily slide out the sonic screwdriver and not really overly damage the packaging. It's still intact. There's an interesting bit of text in there, which, there's a lot of info there. What that says is, in its closed position, the sonic can be used with the emitter extended or retracted. It has 3 basic sounds and light combinations activated by different numbers of button press. You can also extend the viewer analyzer. In addition, you can also open the sonic screwdriver by rotating the lower section 180 degrees. Which, okay, we'll do that. And also that activates this light at the bottom of it, which this says is the internal power crystal. You don't have to have it completely open like that, but this button here, the round button, and, actually I might as well show it in use here. The emitter is this slide out bit here. Okay, so there, everything is rotated fully open. I was still looking for the button. And it does make a specific noise when opened or closed. And of course, because it's a sonic screwdriver, when activated with the large button on the flat surface, it is going to make some sonic screwdriver sounds. There's the power crystal. There is a smaller button above the one that activates the sounds. That's the emitter, which has an interesting kind of a little lens in it, I will say. You press the button a number of times, you get different sounds. 1 press, 2 presses. See if I get anything different for 3 presses. Well, that's interesting. Yeah, the bottom light started flashing like, oh, your test results are in. It's a really, really cool bit of gadgetry, and the lights are not limited to that surface. There are lights on the bottom. And, once you have it completely rotated open, you have lots of lights on the bottom. Like I said, there's a lot going on here. Somebody clearly wanted to make sure this had a lot more play value than basically a glorified pen light, and I appreciate that. And I'm sure that, all the kiddos out there who got one of these wanting to keep up with the Doctor's latest and greatest hardware will also appreciate that. This definitely has more moving parts and interesting things going on than frankly most of the sonic screwdrivers that we have gotten in the past. Mercutio, as you can see here, not terribly impressed by the sonic, and wasn't really interested in being scanned, which, by the way, the only thing the scans revealed was extreme floofiness. So, there you have it, the 15th Doctor Sonic Screwdriver. I was very happy to receive one of these. This was a gift from a friend who was like, "Oh, do you have the latest Sonic Screwdriver?" I was kind of like, "I do not. It is not in the budget right now." And then next thing you know, here it is. Very happy with that. Thank you very much. You know who you are. And that's the current state of the Sonic Screwdriver. If you haven't kept up with Doctor Who, if you haven't watched the latest seasons, probably stop the video now, because I do want to actually talk about some recent developments in the show. So I'll give you a moment to go ahead and click away. You won't hurt my feelings if you don't stay for this. I am really disappointed that we are not getting to keep Ncuti Gatwa as the Doctor. I really liked this version of the character. In the last episode, the phrase "absolute joy" pops up, and that really does describe him. This was a version of the Doctor who had great big feels. And speaking again about the show's younger audience, I think that is something a lot of people can relate to. I think it's something a lot of people can relate to right now, especially. But this was a version of the Doctor who had so much life to him, and it seemed like he should have had so much life left. Now, I know that the career of the actor in question is only going to go up, up, up from here. So, as much as I want to say, at least work with Big Finish, I have a feeling he may be too busy for that, and probably fairly soon. But I hope that somewhere between his management, whoever his representatives are, and Big Finish, some combination of people can convince him to be the Doctor again, just for audio purposes, because there are so many hints dropped of so many adventures we didn't get to see. And this last season of the show, this most recent season of the show that ended with the reality war, for my money, that was the best season of Doctor Who we have gotten since the first Jodie Whittaker season. This past season was very well thought out, very intelligent, very emotionally intelligent as well. I really liked it. I like it when the show is that smart and has that big of a heart. So, I know there's a lot of uncertainty about where things go from here, especially with regard to is Disney's streaming service going to play a part in Doctor Who's future? I believe it has been reported that there are some encouraging noises from within the BBC that the show can continue. It may not look as fancy as it did on Disney, but here's the thing. I've been watching Doctor Who since the wobbly sets days, since the days of, guy gets infected by the Wirren and, looks at his hand covered in green bubble wrap and just absolutely sells being horrified by it because this means he's mutating into an alien, even though you can obviously see it's green bubble wrap. If I've been around Doctor Who that long, I don't really care if it's pushing the boundaries of special effects. That's not what you watch Doctor Who for. At least it's not what we used to watch Doctor Who for. And I'm not saying it cannot be both things. This past season demonstrated that it absolutely can be both things. It can look fantastic and tell great stories. Let's aim for that, whether there is American money in the mix or not. And, smart money says probably best not to be too entangled with an American streaming service for the sake of the future of the show. I'm just going to leave it at that because we've recently heard from the showrunner of Andor talked about being told he would not have as much money for season 2 because he was told by the upper brass at Lucasfilm that quote unquote streaming is dead. And that's not the only place I've heard that. By the way, that's not a good sign. So, yeah, I would actually almost... Doctor Who went back to being a fully BBC production without having to be in bed with an American streaming service because I'm starting to think that side of things is absolutely not where you want to land the TARDIS. But in the meantime, until we do know what's going on, new sonic screwdriver. It is a great one. I love this. So many bits and pieces and modes. This one's a lot of fun. Do recommend.